Do you ever find yourself bored with a screen but have nothing else to do? Try Simple Stitch Embroidery. I've been embroidering for about 9 years now. I started with my abuela when I was 12 and then continued my skills with my grandmother, who's been a seamstress for 30 years. I found that the art is dying and that the skills needed for basic sewing are fizzling out. So today I will show and explain how to do a few simple stitches without backing so that you can embroider on the go. In this case, we'll use the stitches to freehand a few flowers, but you can mix it up to make any simple design. Today I'll be speaking to you about the required materials and where to gather them, how to start and stop a stitch in 2 stitches, the running and the satin stitch, the best ways to prep, as well as the best ways to prep and complete simple stitches. Starting of course with the most necessary step, the gathering of your materials. The first thing you're going to want to get is an embroidery hoop. Embroidery hoops come in wood or plastic. Wood is typically more durable but more expensive, while plastic is more versatile in shape and size. As far as fabric goes, you can get pre-made fabric kits that come with all your other materials that will have pattern designs and instructions on how to do them, or you could use simply anything you have. I chose to use a pillowcase. Needles are the next thing that you're going to need. You can get them in any fabric or department store for super cheap, so I wouldn't suggest buying ones that are marketed specifically toward embroidering. For this, size doesn't really matter. It just depends on which size needle is most comfortable for you to hold. The last thing that you're going to need, other than scissors, is embroidery floss. This is the actual thread that you use to complete your projects. You can get them in single bundles for 98 to 67 cents, or you can buy full kits like I did for $15. Those I found at Walmart. Now onto our bare bones basics of prepping your fabric and starting a stitch. First thing you're going to want to do is put your fabric through the hoop. So for brevity's sake, I've already gone and demonstrated this, but what you'll do is unscrew or unlatch, depending on what you have on your embroidery hoop. Place your fabric inside by putting the bottom piece on the back end of your fabric and the top around and over it. After you've screwed it closed, you'll simply pull and stretch it all together to get it nice and tight. So now I'm going to show you how to start a stitch. The first step is to thread the needle. What you're going to want to do is start by pulling apart your thread. Thread comes in bundles, and there are 3 stacked to have about 6 or 7 strands. Usually for embroidery you only want to use 2 or 3 strands so that it doesn't come out too thick and cause holes to be in your fabric. What I do is, of course, I use my teeth. I pull and I simply hold as I pull all the way down with my fingers so that I don't end up moving or splitting any of the fabric, the thread from itself. So now what you're going to do is place the strands that you've separated through the tip of the needle. You could always use a needle threader, which I don't have because I've been doing this for a long time, although this process does take a bit of a minute, so I am going to. Now that you have it, what you're going to do is simply tie it at the end of your sewing needle like you would a shoelace. Over and under. Super easy and super simple to do. Now what you're going to want to do is start your stitch. Starting a stitch is very simple. All you have to do is put your hand on the hoop and hold it, and then simply put the needle with the thread through the fabric. Make sure that you hold on to it as you go so that your fabric doesn't become lost. When you first start out, I wouldn't suggest pulling it down too far. Now you're going to go and you can look at the back and see where your fabric is. Put the needle through at an exit point very close to it, and then simply restitch over top. This will keep the thread in place as you're embroidering. That way you don't have to continuously check and hold on to it. Now we're going to show you the running stitch. This is the most simple and usually the first stitch that people learn. There are 2 ways to complete the running stitch. You can go from the middle point of your first line and simply exit and enter at the same length multiple times in order to make it look like the stitch is moving in a straight line. Or you can go from point to point like so to make it look again like a running line. The next thing you're going to want to learn is the satin stitch. This one is super simple. All you have to do is make horizontal lines next to each other. I would suggest starting with squares to learn instead of using other shapes like a heart or a star or a circle, because those can be kind of difficult to master. And essentially all you're going to want to do is make the stitch look like a solid block of color. Super simple and super easy. Now I'm going to show you very quickly how to close a stitch. What you'll do is on the back of your hoop, you'll simply stick the needle through one of the points of thread or the lines in the back, because there should be lines on the back as well. You're going to pull it through and tie it like a shoelace to make a knot. And there you have it, a simple stitch. Today I covered the main materials, how to start and stop a stitch, and 2 simple stitches. So the next time you find yourself bored with nothing to do, sick of staring at a screen, or needing a simple outlet for creativity, try simple stitch embroidery. There are so many applications that reach beyond just creativity, such as simple mending and sewing skills. I think everyone should learn, no matter the reason, to keep the art alive. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day.